So I'm talking to Rachel from Plastic-Free Penzance for the Plastic-Free Diaries blog. It's a bit blustery out here at Penzance. We've got the sea over that way, so if you get a bit of wind on the microphone, just ignore that and just listen to this, because Rachel, you've been working really hard with Penzance. Tell me what you've been doing to change this town.
Okay, so we are part of the Service Against Sewage Plastic-Free Communities campaign, and when you sign up to become a plastic-free community through them, you get a little toolkit which gives you 5 steps to complete to get their accreditation. And so that's what we did to start off with. We thought, right, we'll work towards this accreditation, and it's a really it really breaks it down into much easier bite-sized chunks, because if you think, right, we're going to make Penzance plastic free, that's a huge task. Nobody, and it's just like, it's overwhelming. You can't just do that overnight. But this toolkit breaks it down into really quite manageable chunks that you can start to work on. So that's what we did at first. So and to get the status, what we needed to show was that we were working with businesses. So we had to get a certain proportion of businesses to remove or replace at least 3 single-use items, but also show a commitment going forwards. We needed to work with our community, so community groups, community organisations, raising awareness, working with our schools and our young people, and to do that we rolled out plastic-free schools to the schools in Penzance, and now they're all working on eliminating single-use plastics and raising awareness through the work that they're doing. But we linked up with other organisations as well, such as the Town's Festival, Galawan, our Mounts Bay Marine Group, which is our local Cornwall Wildlife Trust marine network group, lots of the Cornwall Plastic Pollution Coalition. There's all sorts of different groups working here, so we all work together.
And you've had a very good start, because you had the weigh-in and Thorns in the town, which are being very proactive.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, the weigh-in has been there for years, so we were really lucky to have the weigh-in as a shop where you could go and buy your dry goods plastic free. They do provide plastic bags, but they do refills as well, so we've been promoting people going there to do refills. Thorns wasn't plastic free. Thorns had quite a lot of plastic in it actually before we started this, and it was amazing to go in. Once we'd got the status in December, I went in before Christmas because I'd been chatting to them about it, and then I went in after Christmas, literally 2 weeks later, and it had all gone, and they'd gone plastic free. And that was a really big moment actually for me and for the town, because a lot of people shop in Thorns and suddenly they could shop somewhere plastic free. And also that was a draw to bring people away from the supermarkets as well. And now once we'd got the accreditation, which was more than just the things I mentioned before, we had to work strategically and things like that, but we got the status, and that was our basis to build on it. So that's what we're doing now, and trying to draw people into Penzance, because now you can shop plastic free in Penzance quite easily. I now do my full weekly shop plastic free in Penzance, and that's the point where you can start putting pressure on the supermarkets.
Because I find, having gone plastic free as much as I can, that it is a life change, isn't it?
You do need to make lifestyle changes, and that's where it can seem overwhelming and people don't know where to start, and that's why we work really hard on individual actions that people can take, and again breaking it down. None of us are going to do this overnight, but anything that we can do is better than nothing. And because it's such a big problem, when we're talking about these things in such massive numbers, just doing one thing actually can have quite a big knock-on effect. So the first thing that we ask people to look at is just stop buying drinks in plastic bottles, and if you only do that, that's amazing, because 35.5 million plastic bottles are bought every day in the UK, and only just over half of them are recycled. So the rest of them are burnt or end up in the environment or go to landfill. Now, if we all just decide to stop doing that, we're already making a huge impact. Every adult in the UK will go through 200 bottles a year. So it's little things like that. Coffee cups, the same. Once you've got used to not buying a plastic drinks bottle and having your refillable bottle, then the next logical step is the coffee cup, and people will automatically then start noticing the things and making the small changes, and then it's not this big overwhelming thing that we need to do.
And how important is consumer power, customer power?
Oh, it's vital. Yeah, that's where we can put the pressure on the big boys. We vote with our pound. If we're not buying it, they're not gonna supply it, basically. And we need to send a really strong message that we don't want this stuff. And that's where you know, in Penzance, we have a role to play in putting that bottom-up pressure, but that's where Surfers Against Sewage come in as a national charity, working at the other end of it, working on that strategic lens with the big corporations, with the government, and on that side, what we can do here is highlight the issue. We did a mass unwrap to highlight the issue at supermarkets and educate people and try and kind of, you know, bring people, if people want to shop plastic free, we've got another alternative here now that they can use, and that will be what puts the pressure on.
So for Penzance, what's the next step?
We're just building on it. We've got so much going on, and it's amazing. We've like Galawan, our local festivals this month, and they've just done so much in the short space of time that they had to get themselves organised. They've done so much this year to reduce impact, and now we are really embedding this. So one of the criteria we had to meet to get the status was to set up a strategic group which embedded it in the community. And on that group, we've got our town council, we've got our business improvement district, we've got our chamber, we've got Galawan, we've got businesses. So now we are really working to give this teeth, so it kind of starts to permeate lots of different levels. So we're working on this season, we've been working on visibility, so that when tourists visit, they know that what we're working towards, and we give them 3 simple things that they can do. So there'll be window wraps going up in town, we've got information going into holiday accommodation. We're going to have a lovely big flower bed with a marine plastic wave on it outside saying plastic-free penzance, just to say, look, you're here, we're trying to be plastic free, what can you do to help? And hopefully they'll take that message home with them. So we're spreading the word. And we're working on waste management, looking at on-street recycling, looking at compostables, which are a massive issue for us here, because people switch to compostables thinking they're doing the right thing. They're not actually compostable unless they're in the right conditions, and we don't have the facilities to deal with them in Cornwall yet.
And actually compostables also put little bits of plastic into the environment.
Well, look at bioplastics do, but there's a difference between bioplastic and compostable. So biodegradables are still plastic, they just break down quicker, but they still leave plastic.
Yes.
Compostables are plant-based, and they do compost down, but you have to have the right conditions and the right facilities, and we don't have them in Cornwall. So there's a massive education programme to be done there, and that's why the overall message of what we do is we've just got to reduce single use, full stop. We don't need to buy all of this stuff. Refill, reuse as much as you can on the kind of more infrastructure level, then looking at how do we bring an industrial composter to our town so the people who are using it can deal with it properly.
Well, thank you, Rachel. So there is some inspiration there, and I've learnt a few things as well. So just get out there and find ways that you can cut down what you're using in the way of single-use plastic.